from Chris. There it is. All right. I'm going to call these meetings to order. I know that we have one person here for public comment for the IDA. I am going to convene the Development Corporation meeting first. However, if our public speaker wishes...
There it is. All right. I'm going to call these meetings to order. I know that we have one person here for public comment for the IDA.
That's your avatar or what?
Chris?
I don't know.
Hey, Zach Wynn, you're not muted.
Oh, is that the problem?
Am I on a loop here, Deb? Can you hear me?
Say what?
I'm trying to get this to output audio.
Yeah, the sound was garbled, I think, because somebody had their speakers on. I don't know what the deal is, but I don't seem to have the echo now. All right.
Let's see.
Is Chris here?
Hello.
Yeah. Okay. So, Amanda, if you want to give your public comment now before we do the TCDC meeting, you may. Otherwise, you can wait until we start the IDA meeting.
May I speak, or is it too late?
Is that Zach?
Yeah, Zach's on for public comment too. Zach, we haven't begun yet, so.
Oh, okay, I have a little technical error, so let me know when I'm good to go. Or just
Okay, well, so here's your choice. We're going to do the TCDC meeting first, because we have an executive session at the end of the IDA meeting. So my question for those who are doing public comment is, do you wish to address us before the TCDC meeting, or will you wait until we start the IDA meeting? And I will leave it up to you what you want to do.
For the sake of just convenience, can I just say what I have to say and we can all move on?
Yes, sir, you may.
Thank you very much. My name is Zach Wynn, and I live here in the city. I have, for some time, been paying attention to the issues surrounding the Asteri, and I have also encouraged the action that eventually took place to re-examine the agreement between the IDA and Vecino regarding the tax abatement. And it's my hope that during your deliberations about what to do regarding the potential revocation of that tax abatement, that you will bear in mind the previous history that Vecino has of making promises and not following through, the innumerable opportunities they've been given to have corrected the situation. And I believe there may be some temptation to cut them some slack in this instance because of the potential fallout of rescinding this tax abatement. I'd like to encourage you to not take anything into consideration except for the laws and rules and agreement as it was laid out and the current state of the building and Vecino's fulfillment of its commitments and obligations to correct those problems. And I understand that if the abatement was to be modified or rescinded, it could have major second and third order consequences. Those consequences are the responsibility of Vecino and a consequence of their poor decision-making and management of their property and allowing things to decline to this point. So I have nothing but faith in your ability to make unbiased and well-informed decisions on behalf of the community, and I put my trust in you and just hope that everything from the beginning of this interaction with Vecino going back to the Art House through the most recent incidents can be taken in consideration. Thank you very much, and I yield the remainder of my time.
Thanks, Zach. We appreciate it. Amanda, do you wish to speak now? There's only one really super meaty issue. So you're waiting? Okay. Wanting to watch democracy in action, no doubt. Jerry, I noticed you acted like you had something you might want to say.
No.
Okay. All right, then, I am going to call the meeting of the Tompkins County Development Corporation to order. We have no privilege of the floor for the TCDC. I don't think we have any additions to the agenda. So I guess we will move directly to the item of business, which is the Block 14 loan update and discussion. I see Gary and Matt Travis here, so all right. So if y'all want to come up and grab a microphone and tell us what it is you came here to tell us. Okay, who's going to start?
Okay, good. Thank you. Well, thanks for having us come back. We were here, last meeting or a meeting before? Not too long ago, to give you an update of what was in our report that was put together for us, and that was probably the biggest amount of work that we've done. Where we are now is we're really kind of, I think, waiting to have some discussions with county folks. We've started with several, but we really haven't taken it very far at this point, as probably you would know, Deb, because you're...
Because I haven't heard anything about it lately.
You would know, yes. But we really need to have a better understanding of what's possible and what's not possible. I think, we have an internal goal of trying to get something done, hopefully by mid-year, so we can then turn around and do some sort of solicitation with whatever we have to work with at that point. So, that is our goal. If we have the prospects of a larger parcel to work with, it will be it'll sort of be one direction. If we have something smaller, it'll be a different direction. But that's what it looks like at this point in time. And as I've said, we're trying to have some discussions with folks at the county to better understand sort of what's possible. Again, what's possible, what's not possible, what makes sense, what doesn't, what fits within a timeline, and what doesn't.
What's possible, I gather, with respect to the property that COFA is currently occupying?
Correct. The county-owned property on that on that parcel. The good news, is that the timeline for a project like this, we were just talking about it, is not short. While we might put a solicitation out to receive expressions of interest, the idea would be that would be the early stages of something that would take multiple years to put together. So, in theory, things could align if it made sense. But we don't know yet. So obviously that's where we wait. Right now, beyond where we've done with the report, we have a sense of how things can come together. I think we have enough information to put a solicitation on the street once we know what we're really talking about in terms of real estate.
So I gather that because you're still waiting to hear from the county, and the county's still in the process of deciding what it's going to do with COFA. The maturity date of July 11th is not a realistic date, and so I guess we need to decide how we want to go forward. My feeling is that this is an interest-free loan. There's, I gather we could declare a default interest rate of a grand 1%, but I don't see any purpose in doing that. But my preference would be to extend your note until such time as you have someone who's willing to take this property on, and I guess hopefully you'll make a pile of money on that. So I'd be happy to hear what the rest of the board thinks.
You want next?
Don't all talk at once. Doug, and then Greg.
I agree.
I'd second that if it were a motion.
Okay.
Do we want to put a date on it, like extend it for at least another year, so then the next
And then they
board
can come back and.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And hopefully we won't be in the same position we're in now.
No, right. Our option on the property extends through the end of the year.
Okay.
So that, that would be fine. That would probably make
So
sense.
the end of this year.
End of this year.
So I guess if we're going to extend it, we can only extend it to the end of this year, because I assume you won't exercise your option unless you're on firmer ground with what the county's plans are.
I think the key piece is that we have multiple options of how we can move forward with the developer for single parcels or singular parcels, being just the Woodard site or the entire block. Of course, and I had some conversations earlier this week about, process. We can certainly exercise our option through the end of the year with the property owner. That would trigger us needing probably more time to finalize with the developer on behalf of any interested parties. So us being able to repay any type of loan or essentially have a developer repay any type of loan would require closure on that, closing on that property and being able to move forward. I anticipate that would probably take longer than the end of the year, but certainly if you feel more comfortable with the end of the year, we can do the end of the year and then come back and see where we are in July or August in terms of what the county's preference is on moving forward with the sites.
Well, I don't want to keep doing this every 6 months. So my feeling is that I want to hear from you what you think is a realistic timeframe, and then we can.
November. I think your initial idea of extending it for a year makes sense. That gives us time overlap into the new year to.
Okay.
I think that would, of all the what we've heard so far, makes the most sense.
All right. Would somebody like to make a motion that we simply extend this for a year?
So moved.
Greg makes that motion.
Second.
Jeff seconds. Any further discussion on this? We ready to vote? Okay. All in favor? That is unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
I don't
folks.
know, where'd Russ go?
I'm right here.
Oh, there you are. Just disappearing against a wall. Okay, do we need to draft anything in addition?
I think it would be a simple note amendment.
Okay,
And I have to refresh my recollection as to the documents that were used, but that's a really easy thing to do.
okay. If
So we'll make it a
needs-
year from today's date, or
Well,
a year from
a
when it
year
was-
from the maturity date, I think.
Maturity date.
Okay, that's easy.
All right.
Russ, I can send you the current note
Great.
that we've got that you did.
Yeah, and then
so.
we'll just coordinate and get it signed if you don't.
Perfect.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank
folks.
you,
all.
folks.
Appreciate it.
Good luck.
Thanks.
All right. I have no report on this at the moment. Kelly, is there anything from staff?
No staff report for the Development Corp.
All right, then. Would somebody like to move the minutes for approval?
I will move.
Jerry moves.
As submitted.
Greg seconds. Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. That's unanimous. And the meeting of the Development Corporation is adjourned. And now we will call to order the meeting of the IDA. And now we will take public comment. Privilege of the floor from Ms. Kirschgessner.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm Amanda Kirch-Gessner. I'm a lifelong resident of Tompkins County, and I may sound like a broken record today. I'm speaking on two items, the proposed pilot transfer for the Ithaca Tech Park and the Vism sales tax recapture and expansion request. First, the Tech Park. The original pilot was justified to support job growth tied to Binoptics and later Maycom. The growth did not occur here. The expansion left the region when necessary energy infrastructure wasn't available, and employment at that site declined dramatically. That matters because the public benefit that justified this abatement no longer exists. Today, the property is owned by a consortium of regional banks following foreclosure. This is not an operating company seeking inducement to expand. It's a bank-owned holding entity requesting continuation of a tax break tied to a different company and a different set of promises. Under the pilot, 9 Brown Road receives about $14,500 per year in savings, roughly $72,500 through the remaining term. So the question is simple: is continued subsidy necessary? If this ownership group has $10,000 available to pay to transfer the abatement, it's hard to argue they cannot pay approximately $75,000 in taxes over the next 5 years. And quite plainly, the county and the school district need $75,000 more, then the IDA needs a $10,000 transfer fee. And if this group can afford $10,000 for transfer, they can absolutely afford $10,000 to apply for new abatement through the standard process. If an abatement is still justified, then require a new application, a clearly defined benefit, and a full public hearing. Anything less bypasses transparency, accountability, and the intent of inducement. Second, the VISM project. The IDA is correctly pursuing recapture of excess sales tax benefits, approximately $26,000, because the company exceeded what was authorized. At the same time, that same company is now requesting an additional $208,000 in new tax exemptions. That creates a clear inconsistency. And if enforcement matters, it has to matter consistently. You cannot enforce the rules in one moment and expand benefits in the next without a clear and compelling justification. If clawback is appropriate here, then accountability should be applied broadly. That includes taking a closer look at past transfers, including the 2021 City Center transaction, where substantial private gains, reportedly in the range of $25 million, were realized without an accessible public hearing on the transfer of benefits. And I want to be very clear about the broader impact of these decisions. We have individuals in this county facing tax foreclosures. We have residents struggling to stay in their homes because they can't afford taxes. If, in that context, tax relief should not be flowing to out-of-state headquartered businesses through expanded incentives after agreements have already been made. We need those businesses paying into the system, not receiving additional benefits after exceeding their original terms. We need to stop shifting the goal lines. Economic development incentives only work when they are transparent, justified, and enforced evenly. Right now, the public is being asked to accept continued subsidy without demonstrated need and expanded subsidy following non-compliance. I urge the board to deny the pilot transfer in its current form and to apply consistent standards of accountability across all projects. This is not about being anti-business. It's about whether public subsidy follows performance or whether it continues regardless of outcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. I would point out that Visium has already voluntarily refunded the money that was over and above what the original pilot allowed, and that we fairly routinely entertain applications to increase the existing pilot request. And I would assume, Kelly, that this would involve another public hearing?
Yes.
Okay.
The initial request did not go to a public hearing just because the amount was below 100,000, and with the new request, it will go to a public hearing. Yes.
Okay. I just want to be sure that you understand what's going on here. All right. There are no additions to the agenda that I'm aware of. So I think we can move on to the business items, and the first one would be Visium. So Kelly,
yes.
Go for it.
So joining us remotely, we have Rob Martinowski, Head of Operations for Visium Ultra Labs, formerly known as Lit Thinking. Visium Ultra Labs is a private technology firm founded in 2022. The company's core focus is on utilizing UVC radiation to mitigate the risk of infection from airborne pathogens, aiming to make indoor environments safer. The company's headquarters is located in Florida, and their R&D facility is located here at 10 Brown Road in the Cornell Business and Technology Park. This location supports an in-house operation system that aims to improve the efficiency and reliability of far UVC LEDs. They do partner with the Cornell Nanoscale facility for advanced fabrication techniques. This project includes building upgrades to outfit the space with necessary electrical, plumbing, and gas supports, along with high-power application equipment. The applicant is seeking an increase in their sales tax exemption, totaling $208,000, to support the fit-out and renovation of the facility. The company previously received a $98,000 incentive from the TCIDA. However, the project was expedited and expanded beyond its initial expectations. The additional personnel have been hired, one in January, a temp who will convert to a full-time FTE this month, and one additional FTE to start in May, and multiple interns from Cornell as well. As required, the request will proceed to a public hearing, should you move that resolution, with your recommendation. And through 2025, Visium had 4 employees, and the projection for over 3 years is 9 FTE. So that I will invite Rob to add to anything I may have missed.
Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate it very much. And no, you covered it pretty well. I will want to remind everybody that the request for abatement is strictly for capital expenditures, those improvements to the building to increase our production capability and development capabilities, actually doubling the size of what we're doing right now. All the other expenses that we have on a daily basis are taxable. And so we're not asking for abatement, to cover all of our expenditures. And we're very excited to be in Ithaca and working with the Cornell Group. I've been up there many, many times. I apologize for not being there today. It just, the timing of it just didn't work out for me. But we have a very, very strong commitment to the Ithaca community, and we have a commitment to the people that are working for us in Ithaca over the next 5 years. And our hope is we're going to move past research and actually move into an ability to fabricate, sell, and distribute these UV LEDs in the future. So we're a long-term resident there. We're absolutely thrilled with the help we've gotten so far, and we look forward to working with you going forward in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Questions, concerns for Rob? I do have a question. Kelly, you mentioned gas. I know that that property is subject to the natural gas moratorium in the village and town of Lansing. Is that a problem for your business, Rob?
No, not at all. When she talks about gases, we use a variety of gases to support the fabrication of the solid state devices. And those gases are purchased from Airgas, a local vendor there. We don't have any demand for natural gas for what we're doing.
That's good to know. I think that the Business and Technology Park has been somewhat hampered by that moratorium. So it's nice to have someone there who doesn't need the natural gas. All right then. So we just need to move to have a motion to send this to a public hearing.
Correct.
Would anybody like to make that motion?
I'll move.
Jerry does, Duck seconds. Any further discussion? All in favor of moving this to a public hearing? That is unanimous. Thank you, people. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for their time.
Okay, pilot transfer request to the Ithaca Tech Park LLC at 9 Brown.
Deb, I'm sorry. Rob, are you still on by chance?
Yeah, certainly.
This is Russ Genzel. I'm legal counsel to the IDA. I apologize, Deb. But
That's okay.
just keep in mind that until the IDA has the public hearing and adopts a subsequent resolution following that hearing, any sales tax that you incur in the interim and pay, the IDA can't get that back for you after the fact. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking of timing and making purchases and signing invoices.
No, I appreciate that, and we actually discussed that in depth with the group, so we understand that completely. For any expenses we're incurring at this time, we're paying sales tax. If there's something that we just absolutely have to purchase because of timing, we're going to do so, and we understand that we have to burden that part. And we just hope that we can get to the hearing and see the abatement for anything we do down the road.
Sorry, Dan.
Oh, no, that's fine. That's fine, Russ. All right, then. Moving on to our next request for a pilot transfer at 9 Brown Road. Kelly?
Yes, joining us remotely today, we have Harold Bordwin, who is the receiver for Ithaca Tech Park LLC. And we also have Rick Brown, who is joining from Power Integrations. He was actually one of the founders of Odyssey Semiconductor, who was acquired by Power Integrations in 2024. As a reminder, this request is to transfer the pilot to Ithaca Tech Park LLC. This will go through 2031 at 9 Brown Road. The assessed value is currently frozen at $960,000 under the pilot. Without the pilot, the value would be $1.5 million, resulting in approximately $14,500 per year in tax savings, or roughly $72,500 in total savings through the end of the pilot term. As discovered, the onus on the property taxes does flow through to the tenant, which is Rick's team at Power Integrations. So Rick is here today to talk a little bit about his team and how the pilot supports them and what's going on with their company. So I will open it up to them.
Hi, thanks. Yeah, so we were, the team that remains here was from Odyssey Semiconductor originally, and Power Integrations kept most of the team when they took over. And sorry, we're just kind of getting up to speed on this because one of the people who was handling this has moved on to somewhere else. If are there specific questions about, what we're doing? Basically, we're doing, actually it sounded kind of similar to what Rob was doing. It's a gallium nitride based research, which is kind of a continuation of what Odyssey Semiconductor was doing. And we have a lot of the same facilities and business requirements that it sounds like they do as well. So the mission kind of remains similar to what Odyssey was doing, but we're now under Power Integrations.
Okay, questions?
So, Rick, so tell us a little bit more about the business. Like why did you guys originally locate to Ithaca, and what are your future plans for this type of business?
Yeah, so, Odyssey was at 9 Brown before Power Integrations acquired the assets of Odyssey, and then subsequently took over the lease that we had, or extended the lease that that Odyssey had, basically Power Integrations needed a development lab for what they were trying to build, and Odyssey was, I guess, kind of ideally, outfitted and staffed for what they wanted. So that's why it's in Ithaca. We plan to remain in Ithaca, and currently a lot of the facilities and systems in the building were kind of left over from when it was Binoptics, and Power Integrations has been kind of upgrading a lot of the equipment. They are currently hiring for 2 positions that would end up in Ithaca. And, I can't speak to exactly, what their plans are. I'm just sort of in charge of the site up here. But, the fact that they're installing a lot of new equipment and making new hires, as far as I know, there is no plan to, relocate the effort anywhere else, just because, like I said, they were lacking a capability that we had here, and that's why they ended up acquiring Odyssey.
Any other questions? Greg?
So just to understand correctly, this is a triple net lease, so this increase in tax liability would be passed to the tenant?
Yes, that's correct.
And is the land owner, the Collection of Banks LLC, paying the transfer application or the transfer fee if approved, or is that cost being passed on to the tenant as well?
That's really up to them. I mean, the policy, the IDA's policy calls for the transfer fee, and I guess how it's paid is up to them, I would assume.
Can we ask how it's paid?
Sure, you can ask. I would assume we passed on to the tenant.
I guess Harold can address
Harold,
that.
is a plan to pass that fee on to the tenant, or something that the ownership group is looking to cover?
The benefit of the pilot is the tenants, and it would be their responsibility to pay the fee.
Okay.
While I'm speaking, just one clarification. In the introductory remarks, I was referred to as the receiver, which is just a technicality. I'm not a receiver. I'm the asset manager for Ithaca Tech Park.
Thank you. What's the annual rent? Is it $220,000?
That sounds right.
Okay, so this would be
or it's around that. Yeah.
6% increase. Okay, anybody else?
In terms of questions or?
Questions, concerns, comments? I guess we could put the resolution on the floor and then we could have comments. So would somebody like to move this? Jeff moves. Greg seconds. Okay. The resolution's on the floor. Comments? Jeff?
Yeah, so, obviously, we all know that this has changed from the original intention. And it was important for me to at least understand what the lease says, and that not that the bank consortium was going to get the benefit. It was really a company that certainly, if they came to us, we would certainly look to incentivize. So, and it looks like it's a 5-year lease. So I think my concern is if we do not extend it, then what type of message are we sending to this business that may or may not want to, in 5 years, move somewhere else? So I would be in favor of extending it. I know it's unusual circumstances, but I think my big thing there was it's going directly to the company, so I'm comfortable with extending it.
Anyone else? Greg?
I would agree with Jeff's line of thinking. I think if it were not for ownership change, we wouldn't be having this conversation about the incentive. So I think that because it is the burden of the company, the employer, the job creator, the economic development engine, it's worthwhile to continue the investment that we're making as a community through the pilot.
Anyone else? Shauna?
Yeah, I'll be voting against. I just at this point don't think at this point that there is enough job creation in order to provide $72,000 worth of tax abatement over the next few years. So I'm going to vote no.
Anyone else? Before I speak? I'm going to vote no on this. The original pilot was extended with the idea that we were going to get 145 jobs, 143. Benoptics at the time, which was the company for which we had this pilot, had 143 employees and committed to create 91 additional positions. That would have been, 230 jobs. Instead, we got a maximum of 9. I mean, I think that we need to be cognizant of the extent of the community benefit we get for these pilot agreements. And I just don't see, with all due respect to the current tenant, it's not their fault. It would have been really helpful, I think, if the lessor had come to us and asked for this transfer before finalizing this lease agreement, but they didn't do that. So I think that that's a matter between the lessor and the lessee. I don't think we should be extending this, so I will be voting no. Anyone else? Are we ready to vote? Okay, all in favor? We've got 3 in favor, all opposed. 4 opposed, the resolution fails.
We need a roll call vote because of the resolution, if we can.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that.
Well, we'll do it again. Jerry?
No.
Jeff?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Duck?
Yes.
No.
Shauna?
No.
And I'm a no.
Thank you.
So, thank you all. Prentice, just want to be sure to mention your name. I mentioned everybody else's. All right, moving on. Chair's report. I don't have a report this month. Staff report.
Staff report, yes. The Paris input was completed ahead of schedule. Thank you so much, Ina, for your diligence with that. Everything was entered correctly, and the first quarter is out of the way. Committee meetings have been taking place. We had the Housing and Finance Housing and Finance and Audit. That would be an interesting combination. Those meetings have been held so far and have made some good progress with those committees. I spoke with Prentice at the beginning of this meeting, and we'll be looking to schedule a labor committee meeting in the next couple of months. Ina and Lisa Schott, the Treasury Manager, have been reviewing the pilot bills that have been going out, and everything looks good so far. And she'll make us aware of anything that needs to be addressed. And in May, Kurt Foreman from IAED and I will be attending the New York State Economic Development Council annual meeting in Cooperstown. So we will let you know how that goes and any world-renowned information we received from that meeting. And that's what I have for staff report.
Thank you, Kelly. I want to acknowledge before anybody gets a chance that we'd be sunk without Ina. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ina.
Kelly sure doesn't want to fill out that Paris report. All right, and then Kelly has scheduled a governance committee meeting that will be coming up. So if you're on governance committee, you probably know about that. All right then, committee minutes.
Yes.
So, Finance and Audit Committee, Jeff.
These are just informational, actually,
okay.
so I can just touch on those, not to put anyone on the spot.
It was worth it to see how surprised you looked.
I wasn't prepared, but I certainly will be happy to.
The February meeting was held, and that was to review the audits for both the IDA and the Development Corp, and that allowed Ina to input that information into Paris. And then in March, as mentioned, we had the Housing Committee meeting, and great discussion with David West from County Planning around the RFP for the housing survey that will take place this year, review of housing policy in relation to smaller projects, and a plan to meet with planners from around the county and also developers for their insight into the policy and any possible amendments to that. And as Deborah mentioned, we will have a governance committee meeting next week. So.
Okay, any more comments on our committee meetings? If not, we can move to minutes approval. Can I get a motion on the minutes, please? Shauna moves, Duck seconds. Any discussions or concerns? Ready to vote? All in favor of the minutes? That is unanimous. Thank you. And now I would like a motion to enter into executive session to discuss potential litigation strategy against a particular entity and the financial history of a particular corporation.
I will move.
Jerry moves, Prentice seconds. All in favor? All right, thank you. We'll take a few minutes to cut the video. I am going to invite Maury Josephson, our county attorney, to join us.